That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Mo Flips. You already know what it is. You know how we do. So let's get into this right quick. Let's talk about the dealer-only auctions. Let's talk about Copart in particular. So I know there's a lot of dudes on YouTube, you know, that make money with Copart. And just to let you know a little bit where this is coming from, you know, I'm in groups and I read forums and you know, I even get emails about, you know, you guys ever want to email me, it should be in the description below. But the thing is always like, oh, I got burnt here, I got burnt there, dealer auctions suck, blah, 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 blah. So, and the big one that always comes up a lot is fucking Copart. And it's probably because, number one, everyone's trying to steal everything they can from there. When I say steal, I don't mean steal in terms of go in there with a screwdriver and pop your lock. But I'm talking more along the lines of get a good deal, okay? And then they watch videos from like auto auction rebuilds. Dude from, I think it's in Oklahoma. And if I'm not mistaken, just so you guys know, and fact check me, okay? Just so you know, 99% sure in Oklahoma, you can buy a rebuildable title car. Understand the terminology here. Rebuildable means that in other states, it has to go through the inspection process. It has to get put back together and be inspected by the state. I believe in Oklahoma, you don't have to do that. You simply take the paperwork to your local tax collector or DMV, whoever issues titles in that state, and they just switch the title from a rebuildable title to a rebuilt title. All right, so you want to know the terminology of what you're buying. Rebuildable means it's still able to be rebuilt, like salvage. It's still able to be rebuilt. A COD title doesn't mean cash on delivery. It's certificate of destruction. In the state of Florida, and I don't know if this is true everywhere else, but in the state of Florida, you can only endorse that title twice. So that means that a car has a certificate of destruction title. It's the dealer, the insurance company said, okay, it's not enough to be rebuilt ever. It's not ever going to be roadworthy. So we're going to issue a COD title. What happens is it goes through, let's just say Copart. I buy it. Okay, so I buy that car. That's number one. I put my dealership's name is on that title now. I use that car for whatever I need to use it for. I can tell you that, well, I'll get to the story after. Let's just say I needed the front end or whatever I needed. I bought it, I took what I needed off. I put the damaged stuff back on, hypothetically speaking, right? And then I say, okay, fine. I run it back through the auction. The next person that buys that car is going to get stuck with it. So chances are that person has to be a salvage yard or something like that, because there's nowhere else to endorse it again. All right, or reassign it is actually the correct terminology, to reassign the title in the state of Florida. So be mindful of that, guys. When you're looking at these auctions, there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of terminology that you may not be familiar with from not buying cars at dealer-only auctions. But, so that's Oklahoma. Oklahoma allows you, and again, fact check me, from what I understand, to go with this title of rebuildable and just walk in without doing any repairs to the vehicle and getting it transferred from rebuildable to rebuilt. So, if you're a person who's watching this person's auto auction rebuilds, I mean, I'll say his name, it's what he does. It's not shots fired. I wish I fucking lived in Oklahoma. Better than that, I wish I had someone that lived in Oklahoma that I could send titles to and just do that shit. But I don't. Anyway. So you can go and buy, you'll notice like a lot of the cars that he buys are older cars. There's a reason for that. And this is just my theory. He'll buy older cars because the likelihood of them having the amount of damage needed to total them out is slim to none. Case in point, a 2004, Acura TL, whatever. Okay, it's got full coverage on it. It gets into a slight little, it breaks the headlight, the bumper, and maybe the fender. No frame damage, no nothing. Because of the value of that car is so low, By the time you do all those repairs at a body shop, the insurance company says, well, fuck it, let's just cut them a check, we'll run this thing through the auction, and we'll recoup whatever we can. We can. Let's be honest, we all know the insurance company's never taking a loss. By all the people that don't get into accidents, they're okay. So, with that being said, now if you live, excuse me guys, there's a firehouse about a mile or two away. I hope everyone's alright. Bless. Let's just say, for instance, so now if you live there, you can buy that car, take it to take the title, get a new title, and you can put it up for sale the next day and sell it and make money on it. Yes, it's got a rebuilt title. Like I said before, people usually don't give a shit about rebuilt titles the older the vehicle. They just, I'm watching my dog fuck up my backyard. But, so that's that. Then you have guys like Sam Track, great YouTuber, great channel, but again, he's not buying cars for resale, right? That's his gimmick. Oh, I buy these cars for me, but yet they're never around. Again, it sounds like shots fired, but it's not. I watch your channel, you know, it's like, oh, I had this car, now it's no longer mine. Well, you either gave it away or you sold it. Either way, it's not there. So, you know, you don't want to say you're selling cars for tax purposes. I get it. Anyway, that being said, you know, he has the best luck. The majority of times you watch, he has great luck with buying cars. Now, he's got a formula to buy them. You know, his latest one was like a $7,000 Jaguar. He stole that car. Such a great deal on that car. It had like this little piece fucked up in the supercharger. So if you're familiar with this, and he is familiar with this because he did a Range Rover, you could have bought that car, you kind of know what the problem is, and you could fix it, and you're good to go. But I don't know if you guys know this, he also used to write, if I'm not mistaken, for Copart. He had like a little column for them, right? They used to do like his picks of the week, and this is going back about a year ago. I don't know if he still does it or not. You can simply go to copart.com and, you know, see if he's still on their page or not. So, with that being said, I'm not saying he does this. What I'm saying is, if it was me and I wrote for them, I'm going to know some people there, and I'm going to make some phone calls to where I want to buy cars. Say, yo, can you do me a solid? Just inspect this car, you know, employee to employee, you know, professionalism to professionalism. Let's do it. Shit, I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be 100% honest with you. Back in the day, about a year ago, prior to ACV, I used to be a Mannheim guy, okay? I'd be at Mannheim all the time. Well, I'm not going to front. I became friends with the mechanics. Now, you got to keep in mind, I was there from either the day before, of course, I went home at the end and came back the next day. But I would be there the day before or the day of, or both, inspecting cars, looking at cars. And then what ends up happening is, as the cars were driving through, I just made friends with the drivers. They see you there enough, you know, you're in line getting food, they're sweating their balls off because they're driving cars with no AC, and you're just like, oh, I got you on the water, let me go run and get, you know, Mannheim by me gives water for free. Oh, you need a water? You know, and because I'm right there, I can take a water and pass them a water. It's just little shit like that. And I wasn't doing it for any other reason other than that's a human being. But through doing stuff like that, I got to know them, and I was able to, at some point, say, hey, can you look at this car for me? Can you look at this car? And it got to the point towards the end of my Mannheim days where I knew mechanics and I knew drivers. So the drivers were able to get there early and test cars for me. Again, they could only really get up to like second or third gear. The mechanics, they were able to pull cars in if they had a few days. So the earlier cars that came to the auction, or the cars that were there from the week before, they were able to do a little bit better of an inspection for me. And then they always got blessed if I bought a car. So if I bought a car that they gave me the green light on, I hooked them up. You know what I'm saying? A 50 spot goes a long way. You know, buy them dinner, take the girl out, maybe. Who knows? I don't care what they do with the money. I head them off. I blast them. So it's like, yo, thank you. Good looking. Here we go. So to think that he's not that intelligent to be doing that, you're kind of playing yourself. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. But if you think that every time you go to Copart, you're going to get that car for those prices, you're bugging. Chances are you're going to buy cars and a lot of work. Understand what you're doing. You're buying from a dealer-only auction. All right? You're buying. Hold on one second. This thing hasn't been recording, so let me check. I'll come right back. Hold on. No, we're straight. It's recording. So, where was I? You're buying from dealer-only auctions, okay? So, if I'm a dealer, which I'm a dealer, okay, and I buy a car from auction, Mannheim auction, and it's got a bad transmission. I'm going to sell it either back through Mannheim, or I'm going to take it to another auction and sell it there. If I bought that car because I thought it was a good running car and it doesn't warrant putting a transmission in it, excuse me. So I'm going to sell it at another auction. I'm not going to announce that it's got a bad transmission. You see what I'm saying? Because then that's going to bring my money down. I don't want to get less for the car. I want to get what I got into it at the bare minimum, or make money on the car and let it be the next dealer's problem. Because we signed up for this. You feel me? Like, as dealers, we have a business plan. We know what we're getting into. We're not intentionally trying to fuck over the citizen, if you will. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not our intention for a rep or, you know, someone using someone else's license to buy a car to get fucked over. Because technically speaking, that shit shouldn't be taking place anyway. And it's part of the game. And I'm going to get into this. Cars at Copart and IAA, or any salvage auction for that matter, those cars are just like, they're fucked up. They're there for a reason. Crashed. If you see one in good condition, you know, obviously someone's hiding something. Very rarely do you get a situation where someone rebuilds a car and then runs it back to the salvage auction. Think about this for a second. If you put all that time and money into rebuilding a car, why would you not run it through a retail auction place? Now, when I say retail auction place, I'm talking about a place like Mannheim or ACV that you know you're going to get more wholesale money out of it because the buyer is going to turn around and retail it. You're not. You're running it through an auction that doesn't let you drive the cars, really doesn't even want you to start them at all locations anymore. So to me, there's something to hide. When there's too good of a looking car sitting there and it's not from an insurance company, the first thing that goes off in my head is, yo, they're hiding something. And I think it's called autoauctions.io. I think I did a video on it. If not, I will. That's where that website comes into play, all right? Copy the VIN, run it through there, and it'll give you the history of that car at the auction. Most cars, because I have got jammed up a few times. But it'll give you the history of it. And this way you could see where you're at with it, okay? Like, I know someone, another YouTuber who just bought I don't know him, I watched their channel, a Lamborghini, and they were like, it was a DDE Lamborghini, I believe, and it was like, oh, this car was, you know, they hid this and they hid that, and you know, it came out to be such a you know, a lot more work than I anticipated, but that person had such a positive attitude. He was like, you know, I still feel like I got a good deal on the car, and he probably did. I don't know too much about Lamborghini prices, but I'm taking their word for it, you know, that they got a good deal. I don't fit in Lambos, so anyway, and I can't afford one, let's be honest. But again, you know, you're buying cars from a auction that specializes in that type of activity. You know, they're crash cars. So don't get it twisted, guys. You're in a dealer's world. You're in a... I think dealers are scumbags. Fuck it, I'll say it. I think we get into shit with the purest of intentions, but somehow or another, money is like the root of all evil, and it causes us to do things that we normally wouldn't. And, you know, it was a funny joke. The other day I was driving around with Leroy, and a friend of ours had just gotten into the car auction business. And when they first got into the business, they wanted to make all their cars perfect, right? And God bless them for that, all right? So in the pursuit of perfection, they started to see their profits coming down, okay? As the profits came down, their mind was like, well, you know, maybe I don't need to fix this. Maybe I don't need to fix that. And what ends up happening now is you go from this purity, if you will, of wanting it to be perfect to not really caring so much, but caring more about your bottom dollar. There's a happy medium, okay? There's a happy medium. And especially in this state that has no... Damn, I'm way off topic again. Motherfucking ADHD. Anyway, that shit happens. So to say that dealers won't fuck each other over, you're fucking crazy. All right. So Copart. You know, I know instances where guys here in Tampa that I know have bought cars from Copart, taken all the parts that they need from the car. I'm talking about like computers. I'm talking about transmissions, engines. And actually had a mechanic on staff where they were able to say, hey, get me this part, put it in this car, put that one back in this car, and send this car back to the Copart auction. Is that fucked up? I don't know. I can't tell you if that is or not. I don't think it is. I think if you buy the car, you do what you do to the car, then you send it back through the auction. It is what it is. You're buying an auction car, right? If you do that and you sell the car to a regular person, like at your dealership, I think that's super fucked up. Like, that person you're selling the car to is just, I call them citizens. They're just a normal person looking for a good car. I would not do that to them, okay? So I hope I covered that, but I don't know, because my ADHD is fucking crazy. Moral story, if you're buying cars from dealer-only auctions, just be ready for the bullshit that comes along with it. Because we're car dealers. And in a loving way, we're kind of like the scum of the earth. Like, I hate to say it, man. You know, I'll say it all the time. I fucking hate car dealers. They, you know, you guys know what it is, man. You know, and you got the guys, oh, I'm good, this, fuck you. You're not. I watched your videos. You're a fucking jerk off. Anyway, with that being said, I'm one of them. And, you know, no one's perfect, okay? So, let's get into this. How can we limit our exposure to scumbag car dealers at the buyer-only auction? First and foremost, don't buy from independents. Stop right now. I don't care how good of a deal it is. If you're, again, we're talking not about your profit margin. We're talking about limiting your exposure to getting fucked over at a dealer-only auction, okay? Stop buying from independents. I can't be more real. Stop buying cars from Copart and thinking that you're going to be the next Sam Crack or Auto Auction Rebuilds. Unless you're going to be like Auto Auction Rebuilds and buy older cars. You're going to buy older cars and you're in a state where you don't have to do inspections. That works. That works so well, okay? Because the train of thought behind that is, hey, it was driving when it was in an accident, so it probably runs and drives well. Perfect. It's like when you go to the pick and pull. Don't pull a transmission from a car that's not been in a wreck. Buy the transmission from the car that's fucking totaled. Why? Because I've yet to see... The majority of cars that have been in accidents that are totaled, they have not been sitting in their driveways waiting for a transmission to get put in next month. No. They were out on the road, driving down the road, and something happened. That's where I like to get the motors and transmissions from, if I'm going to go to a pick and pull yard. Limit your exposure to just getting fucked over, all right? So, back to the auctions. Sorry about that, guys. Back to that. This shit's actually pretty good. With that being said, so don't buy from independents. If you absolutely have to buy from an independent, let's work this. Let's work this angle together. You know who you're buying it from because it'll say seller, okay? So this, unless you're buying it from ACV, and I already went over this with you at ACV, don't buy anything from ACV that's not green light, especially if it says independent or third party or some bullshit like that. If it's green light, buy anything you want from anyone you want because it's all green light cars anyway, so they all come with that 7-day warranty. So that ACV's changing the game on that aspect. Back to real auctions or in-person auctions or whatever you want to call them. I'm not and excluding salvage auctions. So I'm talking about dealer-only auctions. Exclude salvage and exclude ACV. So we're talking about the Mannheims, the Euro auctions, the Odessas, all that shit. So I'll say it again, don't buy from independents. If you find yourself in a situation that you are going to buy from an independent, you know who the seller is. Do yourself a favor. Look at their website. Excuse me. Look at their website. Everyone's got a website these days, right? So if we're looking at a 2010 Honda Accord and I put in XYZ Auto Sales, and if that's someone's name, I'm not calling you out, I'm just XY, it's just what I'm 123 Auto Sales. Look at their inventory. If they're selling like BMWs, Mercedes, higher end vehicles, let's just say, the Accord, you can see it doesn't fit into their inventory. So you're still gambling, but you could feel safer buying that car. Then, if you were to buy the car from a dealer who has, let's just say, 2008 to 2015 Nissan, Honda, Infiniti, all those types of cars, where you could see this car would fit perfectly in their inventory, but here it is at the auction. That's going to be a red flag for you. A light should go off in your head and says, hey, why isn't he selling? Why aren't they? ladies, I know there's a few ladies that do watch the channel. When I say guys, I'm not talking about, men, just generally speaking. All right. I know there's a lot of lady car dealers, so I'm not an asshole. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Fuck. I had to actually say that. So anyway, people, dealers, whatever. Now I lost word. Okay. So why are they not selling this car from their lot? Well, here's why. Something's wrong with it. They either don't want to mess up their Google reviews or Yelp or whatever the fuck it is. They don't want to deal with the headache, or it's just a real bad car. If I'm a dealership that's financing the same type of cars and they're really good, I'm kind of dealing with a different sort of person than a cash car lot, okay? I'm dealing with a person, I hate to say this, but I'm dealing with a person who's got a decent credit, who has decent credit, and can kind of shop around more than a person who's got cash and has to make this car work for their budget. Because when it comes to credit, we can always get that credit line bumped up just a little bit to get them in the car. We can play with the numbers, play with the down payment, maybe hold a payment. You know what I'm saying? We could do certain things to get them in that car. And because of that, they have the ability to shop around. So I don't want this piece of shit car here to get me a negative review. One review could tank you, because if that person who knows they can shop around and says, oh, this person sold me a car and had a bad transmission, or needed an AC compressor a month later, or the brakes were bad, the tires were bald. I know a lot of that stuff is stupid shit, but believe me, people will leave you negative feedback for anything. Anything. So, with that being said, I don't want to take the risk, so let's just get that car out of here. It could be as much as a bad motor, as little as brakes, but whatever it is, be wary of that dealer, because that car fits in their inventory. Something's wrong that they're not selling that car out of their shop, out of their dealership. And you can rationalize your way through that purchase. It's your money. Buy what the fuck you want. I'm letting you know how to limit your exposure to getting fucked over. Number 2, buy. Obviously, you're not going to buy from independents. Buy from franchise dealers. What they usually do is they'll take anything in on trade. They don't give a fuck. They're going to pay like 20% of MMR anyway. They don't care. They already have a trade-in built into the sticker price of their car. They already know what the fuck they're going to do with the car. They're either going to give it to a wholesaler, they're either going to sell it to an auction, or, depending on where you're at, and this does happen, they're going to give it to one of their sales guys who may or may not buy it through the dealership, but buy it directly from the seller. Believe me, we can get into all that later, but not in this video. So, with that being said, try to buy from them, because the probability of them trying to doctor something up, slim to none. Most times, what they'll do is they'll jump in the car, drive around the parking lot, and it's the sales guy, salesperson doing this. They don't give a fuck shit. They're just driving around. Yes, they want to make the sale. The condition of the car is not what's important. What they're looking for is that it's not overheating, it's not motor knocking, and they're making sure that the transmission doesn't slip in a parking lot drive. Drive to the fucking Home Depot or Walmart. Everyone's got a Walmart, right? Drive in a parking lot when it's packed, midday. See if you can get through all the gears. And I'm not talking about driving through the backside where no one parks. Driving in people park. You're probably not going to get over 20 or 30 miles per hour, and that's if you're fucking really pushing it. And that's it. They don't care, because their job is to buy cars. They're going to offer them 20% of MMR. They got great run numbers at the auction, so they know they're going to get top dollar, and they know the smarter dealers who want to limit their exposure to getting fucked over are going to buy their car. So you'll probably pay over MMR for that car at the auction, because you know no one's tampered with it, okay? Someone drove that car to the auction. Again, that limits your exposure, all right? And this one is the hardest of them all, but it's the one that'll probably save you the most headache. I'm going to get to something after this. Remind me, okay? I hope I remember. ADHD, but I hope I should say it now, but I hope I remember. Number 3. I'm going to say it now because I'll forget. This is to limit your exposure to getting fucked over and headache. This is not talking about profit margins, because if you want to talk about profit, you got to increase your risk, okay? Chances are, every rule could be broken. But if you want to make the most amount of profit, from what I understand it, the way I look at it, it means I got to take the most risk. If I want to take the most risk, that means I got to buy cars from independents, because no one wants to pay that high dollar amount for it because of the amount of risk that's in there. Now, if you buy that car into something stupid, your profit margin is way higher because you paid way less. I mean, that makes sense. If not, I'll elaborate at another time. Just let me know you need me to elaborate more. But back to what I'm saying. Number one rule of trying not to get fucked over at the dealer only auction is this. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's the hardest one. Buy your car from the manufacturer. If I'm looking at a Volkswagen, buy it from Volkswagen. If you're looking at an Audi, buy it from Audi. If you're looking at a Nissan, buy it from a Nissan dealer. All right? Why? Well, number one, we already went over it. It's a franchise dealer. But number two, the train of thought here is this. And here's the craziest part, is that I actually, when I used to sell cars, and before I have someone doing it, I used to say this to people. I'll tell you what I used to say. So the train of thought here is this. The person who, if I buy a Nissan from Nissan, okay, that person who traded that Nissan into Nissan loved it so much that they drove off the lot in a newer Nissan. Do you feel what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying? So that person loved that car so much, that car has been so good to that buyer, that they drove it back to Nissan and got the newer version or another Nissan. People usually won't bring their car back to the same dealer to buy another car if the car that they're currently driving is fucking up. So if you bought that Nissan, the transmission slipping, it's a big surprise, right? The transmission slipping and shit like that, you probably have a bad feeling about Nissan. Why would you want to go and buy another one? You might drive that Nissan over to the Chevy dealership and drive off with a new Chevy or GMC or whatever, but chances are you're not going to buy that brand again. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, as a salesperson, I used to say, whatever. I used to tell people, I tend to buy cars from the manufacturer because, exactly what I just told you guys, because if the person loved this fucking Volkswagen so much, enough to buy another one and trade this one in, this one should be a good car, right? I've driven it. I know it's good. I know it shifts and drives, all this other crap. But anyway, you say that because it's the truth. If you think about it, it makes sense. So that's number one. It's super hard to do, just because you're very limited. You're talking about out of 1,000 cars, you might get 50 or less that are being sold from the manufacturer. You know what I mean? So again, guys, that's what I'm talking about in this video. I don't even know how the fuck we got here. Again, damn, these videos are getting real bad. I apologize. They're not forced. I mean, I have good momentum in the beginning, but then my ADHD fucks me up. We were talking about Copart and shit like that, and whatever, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about profit, like I said. I'm talking strictly about limiting your exposure and not necessarily looking at what someone else is doing on YouTube and thinking that you can replicate that. Because, again, you don't know what they're showing you. They're creators. They're not necessarily car dealers. So anything could be edited out, all right? You don't know their connections, and you just don't really know too much about it. What I can tell you is, in the real world, talk to a real car dealer. You buy from those places, and you increase your risk of getting fucked. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. And all these other YouTubers are like, oh, fuck this dealer, fuck that. They rip me off and shit. No, that's not the case, man. You're swimming with sharks. Either learn to swim or get the fuck out the pond, man. I can't be more real with you. This is our livelihood. This is what we do for a living. All right? My intention or other dealers' intentions are not to fuck you over. They are to fuck over other dealers. And not because we want to fuck other dealers, because we don't want to get fucked. That's it. If every car dealer was real, you'd probably never buy a car from a used car dealership, because the likelihood of it being 100% perfect is slim to none. That's why they offer warranties. I heard someone say this before. No car out there is perfect, even brand new, because even when you buy a fucking Bentley, in the back of the Bentley dealership is a repair shop. You know what they're doing? Repairing Bentleys. It's a machine. It ran great today. It might not run great tomorrow. Do your homework. Do what you could do, but don't get mad. All right, guys. Oh, you know who said that? Cash for Cars. The guy out of KC. Got funny motherfucker, bro. Funny motherfucker. But he said that, actually. I don't steal no one's shit. It just came to my mind. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. I'm out. I gotta go. Actually, I'll probably try to reshoot this video better. But I'm having a real rough time today. Damn. All right, I'm out.
That's my best friend.